Dr. Nadia, thank you for joining us. Before diving into dentistry, I'd love to hear about your journey. Take me back to the beginning.
Okay. So I was born in Moscow, Russia, during the Soviet times, and it was actually not bad. Maybe because that's all I knew, but it was pretty normal life. We had fun. I had fun growing up, and my parents helped because they were very artistic, and my dad and my mom owned a theater, music theater, and my grandparents were teaching history of arts and ceramics at the universities in Moscow. There's many universities there. People are quite educated in Russia. Um, so my childhood was fine. Then, when the Soviet era stopped in the 80s, things got different in the place where I lived. There was not much to eat, not much to wear. You had coupon for bread. Everybody would get only like half loaf of bread per week, and you had to go
Oh, wow.
get this coupon at the city hall, and then go to the store. And if they have bread, then you can buy it. And the stores were pretty empty, and you at some point you could only have one coat every 10 years. That didn't last, obviously, because things changed later on, but it was tricky. That is also the time when the crime rate went up in Moscow, and um, being a young female meant you are, in American terms, constantly harassed and constantly um, i- abused, basically. I don't know any of my friends who has not been forced to have some, you know, sex when he didn't want to, and or kidnapped or raped or all of the above. And I'm not
That's
sure why.
terrible.
Yeah, I'm not sure why it's not being talked about more, but it was so within norm that people thought it was normal. It's not normal. It's not normal to take a woman wherever you want to take her and do whatever you want to do with her. Um, it was my late teens and early 20s when that was happening in Moscow. And I came to America a couple of times to Vermont, at Norwich University in Vermont with
It's
my.
beautiful there.
It is beautiful. Um, during during those years with my dad, and I could see that it's totally different here. You could actually walk at night and not be scared. So that was the time when I was like, well, this is not normal in Russia. What's happening in Russia right now is not normal. Um, and then on my 21st birthday, my girlfriend and I were kidnapped.
Oh my
Um,
God.
right, with the purposes of human trafficking. And we were we were told that it was our fault because we were coming home late, 3 o'clock in the morning in Moscow from a club. It was my first time going to a club. And we sat in this really fancy Mercedes um, that we flagged, because you flagged taxi then. It was before Uber time. It was a long time ago. It was over 30 years ago. So
I
um,
remember those days of tagging the flag.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, and there was no taxis anymore. It was that weird time in Russia when nothing was yet established and everything was already destroyed. And we were flagging a cab at 3 o'clock in the morning in Moscow, coming from club and going home. And we sat in this car. There were two guys in the car. Um, and then I noticed we're not going to where we were supposed to go. And then I noticed that the tabs to open the door to I remember those tabs that you had to pull up? Yeah,
Yes, I
they were
do.
missing. So the doors were locked on purpose,
And you
so
couldn't get
you
out.
cannot get out, not even at the traffic. So when I asked where we're going, they said, "Oh, we're gonna just swing by to this club, uh, was called White Cockroach." I don't even know. I've never been to that. It's a
A
weird
white
name. Yeah.
cockroach? Oh.
Like, I don't know why I remember that, but I do. And I was elbowing my girlfriend saying like, listen, we're not going to where we're supposed to go. This is weird. Look at the doors. We cannot open the doors. We cannot even get out of the car.
You had to have been so scared.
Somehow it was not scary. It was just, this adrenaline rush that you feel
Mhm.
when you have to do something and you don't know
Yes.
what it is, but you're going to figure it out.
Yes.
That's how it felt to me. And she was, I think, oblivious, maybe a bit drunk. Um, I just remember thinking, okay, I'm going to figure out how to the hell to get out of here.
So what do
Then
you do?
they took us outside, like I guess it is Moscow now, but at the time it was like outskirts of Moscow. I lived close to the center of Moscow, um, and they dragged us into this apartment on the fourth floor with metal doors and metal locks, and they had guns, and
Oh my
uh,
gosh.
they were trying to smooth it out as like, oh, let's have some vodka, and all I was trying to see, how do I get out of here? Can I jump off the balcony? Can I crawl to the other balcony? What's there? Um, to make long story short, I figured out how to escape. I had to do some pretty gross things like cover myself with my own body exudate. And so that they don't watch me and they want me not there and they want me to go wash myself,
Right.
and stormed out and went to the police. And then the police came and rescued my girlfriend. But the problem was that they also took those guys, and we were put in separate rooms, and I was still filling out paperwork. First of all, I was told that it was my own fault. She's like, "What do you want? You were at 3 o'clock in the morning, young woman. This you were asking for it." So I felt ashamed that
That
I was
is
asking for
terrible.
it, and I was filling out paperwork of what happened. And those guys just walked in into the room where I was sitting, and they said, "Well, we know where you live. We'll find you." And they just left. The corruption in Russia was incredible, incredible. Um, and maybe it would have been okay with me, and maybe I would have taken their word for it that it was my fault, have I not known that it can be different in another country. And
Right.
that's when I was like, this is not the country for me. I was like, if that's what happening here, if people are okay with this, if the police thinks that this is okay,
It's
then we don't fit together well. I don't fit into this system. This is not for me. Um, so later on, I figured out a way to escape and come to America with $500 and two suitcases. Didn't tell anybody what my intention was when I was coming here. And I wasn't planning on going back. And maybe it's wrong, maybe it's not, but that's how you survive.
that is how you survive.